Good morning, Year 5. It is a rather cold day here in Mayfield. We're about to catch the train to find out about an area which has undergone huge change in the last 20 years. So today we're heading to Stratford, which is in the East End of London. The East End of London undergone a massive amount of change since the Victorian period. It was a scene of huge industrialisation, and Stratford in particular was helped by industries in pharmaceuticals, in chemicals and in processed foods. East London was also helped by the huge, great royal docks which were opened just slightly to the east of Stratford, which allowed a huge amount of trade with other countries, particularly the British Empire at the time. By the mid-20th century, particularly in the period after the Second World War, these industries went into a prolonged and sustained decline, and this was only accelerated in the 1960s when the royal docks were closed. But Stratford hasn't stayed the same since then, and there was an event which made a huge difference to how the area was seen, how the area was invested in, and the opportunities available in the area. So, I've now got a job to do. I've got a bit of a journey to make. Stratford grew as an area in the Victorian period because it was some distance away from London and the polluting companies could use it and not violate London's clean air laws. So it does involve a bit of a journey via the tube for me. Whilst I'm doing this, you have a job to do. Think about what you've learned about Stratford so far, how it developed in the Victorian period and what its main purpose was, and what happened to it after the post-war period and why. Use the sentences and resources in front of you, and you've got until I get to Stratford to make sure you've got your work complete. Good luck, everybody. How are you getting on? We're nearly there. In fact, you'll just see something exciting from the train window.
Stratford. Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Or destroyed or damaged by the security services.
So I've made it to Stratford station. I've come on a brand new rail line, the Elizabeth line. I'll talk more about that later. But this was a destination that hundreds of thousands of people came to in 2012. They came through bike, through train, through the underground, many of them on special rail lines put on at Stratford station. They came here in 2012 for a spectacular moment of sport, spectacular moment of culture, and something which really put this area on the map, the 2012 London Olympic Games. Let's find out more about how that changed this area today.
After years of planning, the opening ceremony of the London Olympics is now just hours away.
The greatest Olympic sailor of all time.
That is a step forward for women's athletics. You can't express the feelings I'm having right now. It's just unbelievable.
And Michael Phelps becomes the greatest Olympian in history with 19 medals.
Dreams do come true.
Preparing for the Olympics was a massive job, and you can see some of the rapid transformation which took place in these before and after pics from The Guardian, and also from the time lapse you're about to see, which shows the amount of change which took place in such a short period of time. What can you spot? So Year 5, I'm here with Simeon at the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, and Simeon is the duty manager here, and he's going to tell you a little bit about why he's here, why we're here today.
Hello students. So the Olympic Park was open for the Olympics and Paralympics in 2012. We're now 11 years after that, and we've got a thriving community. We've kept many of our venues. We've got the stadium, which we use for football and concerts. and we've got the aquatic centre, which we use for competitions, but also any local people can use it. We have the copper box, which we have a concert tonight, but school children use it during the day. We've got the velodrome, which is the only velodrome in the world which has road cycling, mountain biking, BMX and indoor cycling. So we've got lots of exciting things here, and we will finish all the building about 2032.
That's been absolutely brilliant, and thank you. We look forward to hopefully perhaps you can come down one day and see Simeon here. Thank you. Back to me in the classroom. So just behind me is the Westfield Centre, which was a huge shopping centre opened just before the Olympics. What purpose do you think they had to open this shopping centre here? What did that serve to the area? What does that tell us about the changes which took place? It's important to note that the Olympic Park isn't a park like we might think. It's not a place with just lots of swings and lots of slides. And of course there's those here, and there's trees and there's other green areas. But the park is more designed to be a business park, a recreation park, an area which is set out to be somewhere special for Stratford, an area to be continued to be used, like the stadium behind me and the other buildings we'll see today, an area for leisure, an area for transport, but also an area for business. Why do you think that when designing the stadium and the Olympic area and planning for the future, we decided to make the area have different uses? Yeah. So I've been given a bit of a sneak preview here. I'm on one of the rooftop gardens overlooking part of the Elizabethan Park. You can see the aquatic centre there. Have you noticed that the aquatic centre actually didn't look the same as it did do in the Olympics? As part of the sustainability, the wings, the additional seating so that everyone could watch during the Olympics could be removed, so that the centre could still be used today as an important sporting venue. And you can also see as we go past the London Stadium, the old Olympic Stadium, you can see some of the new developments which are taking place here. Notice the cranes in the background. We've got a huge art complex here of different important businesses coming through to this part of London, making the most of this opportunity. And as we mentioned, some of these buildings will still be built into 2023. You can also see how some of these new buildings have just been built in the last few years. Some 10 years after Olympic Park, this area has continued to be developed. And since the Olympics, all this area here has been redeveloped and rebuilt with many quite important businesses here, including the British Council, including Transport for London as its huge hub here. As you can see, this area is still being planned to be developed. What do you think? Is this a good use of the Olympic Park? Should more space have been given up to green spaces? What difference do you think this makes, and why would businesses choose to come here following the Olympic Games? Here we can see some of the newer premises built since the Olympics. These are some of the most important cultural sites in the area. We've got Saddle as well. We've got the BBC. I should expect to see the BBC logo just at the bottom. This is the base of the BBC Symphony Orchestra. We've got the University of the Arts. We've built a brand new campus here for students. And then next door, the huge cultural museum, the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum, is putting some of its most important treasured collections here. These are plans for the East Bank area, where the Symphony Orchestra will be, where the BBC will be, and where the new theatre, the Straddle as well, will be. And you can see things are coming on quite nicely. Why do you think these businesses have been attracted to this park? And what do you think it would do for the future of the place? So you can see behind me, one of the main draws was the 2012 Olympic Stadium. Now, unlike in some areas where Olympic stadiums have been disregarded, the plan was always to convert this stadium to another use, but this proved tricky. Unlike the aquatic centre, which could continue to be used for swimming, and the other buildings around here which had different conversions, it wasn't clear what to make the Olympic Stadium into. Unless you're doing Olympics, you don't really need an Olympic stadium, so there needed to be some work to convert it. Do you know which football team play at the Olympic Stadium now? Just underneath the stadium is a community running track which was put in place, well, for all sorts of community events, where regular events take place both on the football field and on the track for a whole wide range of community sport activities. One of the most useful buildings for residents today is the aquatic centre behind me. And you may have heard me saying that the stadium used to have some temporary stands, and these were designed as part of the actual design of the building so that the building could continue to be used, the stands could be removed, and the building was a suitable size to house swimming galas and other events today. In fact, I can't go and show the building because there's a swimming gala taking place right now. So, as well as a business park and the cultural park and the sports park, we also have some areas which have been left as, well, a park. We can see the plants around us, dustbin, and we can see over to the side the playground. Why might these features be here? Who might be using them? I think one thing to point out is the Olympic Park is huge. It was huge in the Olympics and it's huge now. I've spent a good hour and a half walking around so far, mainly around the stadium area, and I'm basically only at the half of the park. I'm at the south end of the park. So if I've got any chance of seeing it before sunset, I'm going to have to get on a bike and continue the journey to the north side of the park.
So whilst I'm making a bit of a quick getaway, time for you to take a look at your annotation so far and check you've included everything. Have you mentioned about the changes to the stadium and how it was reconverted to make sure it was more useful for a modern venue like a football stadium? Have you mentioned about the sustainability work at the aquatic centre so that the additional seating could be removed and the stadium could be used for local resources? Have we talked about the big development which is taking place, including the new cultural sites like the BBC and the Victoria and Albert Museum, and the new businesses which have moved in? Also, it's worth noting I'm going to go on a road. That road was built specifically for the development of a park. There was no road there originally. That's so that new businesses, new opportunities could be made and more people could access the area. Similarly, take a look at some of the heritage as you're going past. Do you spot the Paralympic game symbol, the symbol of the Paralympics, or should we go through the park? we've made it to the East Village. In the Olympics, this was the Olympic Village. This was the places where athletes would stay during the course of the Olympics and athletes would stay during the course of the Paralympics. But now it's been renovated and converted into housing for the area. Would you like to live here?
So, after a bit of a bike ride for a park, it looks like we've made it to the velodrome. This was one of the most exciting parts of the Olympics and home to quite a few of Team GB's medals. But now it's still being used for as part of Lee Valley Velo Park. Let's take a look. So as you can see behind me, this venue, which was one of the first of the Olympic venues to be built, was designed from the start to become a permanent sports centre in the Lee Valley area of London. Not only is it used for indoor track cycling, but there's also outdoor and BMX cycling around here too, and it still hosts international events. Not that many years ago, Bradley Wiggins, who you may remember was the person who rang the Olympic bell after winning the Tour de France, bet the indoor record for the number of metres completed within an hour at this venue. It's still being used regularly by the community today. Much of the building was designed with environmental themes, so you notice the natural lights above me mean that the less electricity is used on lighting, and also the whole building designed to ensure that less ventilation is needed. Why not come down? So on the west side of the park we have Look East, which is a thriving new business district. Here we have some quite futuristic companies along with big names like BT Sport, who are starting to build their businesses here. As you can see, there's plenty of road traffic here, but there is still a big incentive to try and get people to come here sustainably. So although there's one car park just behind me here, most people may find another way of travelling here. Why do you think the designers have chosen to act like that?
Here East is a massive venue with lots of different businesses here, including universities, like the one we can see through this window here. I'm just sneaking a look at. It also has a series of different transport hubs, including opportunities for cycling and a dedicated bus route, and also a car park, and also lots of availability with the London Tram, DLR and tube network. Also in the area of the schools, here's a secondary school. Just further down the road there was a primary school, and along with extra housing.
One of the great things about the Queen Elizabeth Park is the great transport links. Not only is the train lines and the cycle path and the buses and even the car park, but there's even the Docklands Light Railway with several stations like this one here at Pudding Mill East. So, the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. From the work in Stratford in the Victorian period, building up an industrial might, to the changes in the post-war period, particularly in the 60s and the decline, to regeneration ready for the Olympics in 2012, and then now with plans for 2030 and for sustainable development. But what do you think? What is there here for residents, for visitors and for businesses? And what are the key changes you'd like? And what would you change? Have a chat with the person next to you and let's see what we can discuss together.